The harder you push yourself, the more volume, the more intensity, the bigger the benefit is with boosting your testosterone levels. Hey guys, Mark McKillier with Live Anabolic, and today I have 5 tips for you. They're going to basically help you put together the perfect T-boosting day for men over 50, men over 60. I'm about to turn 61 this weekend, all right? So I have to basically make use of these tips on a daily basis because I need all the tea I can get, I promise. And I've shot some other videos on this channel where I talk about, the pros and cons of having good high levels tea and what happens if you have low T. And so this is not that video. This is basically the video just gives you some quick tips on simple, straightforward things you can do to boost your T levels kind of on a day in and day out basis. So first of all, unfortunately, our T levels just naturally start to decline with age. And typically that decline starts around the age of 30. And roughly speaking, it's about 1 to 2% decline per year after the age of 30. And that's some easy math to do, right? Now, it doesn't have to be that much, all right? There's things we can do about it, and that's what this video is about. But there's lots of things going on besides just our natural biology that causes our T levels to drop, and it's things like stress and exercise and environmental factors like that. Our diet, lots of things contribute to lowering our T levels, and that is on top of just the natural lowering of our T levels that occurs with age. So one of the things that I really enjoy doing is interviewing guys on Zoom calls that have had fantastic success stories doing my Fit After 50 program. It's actually, it's fun for me, it's fun for the people I'm interviewing, we record it, and one of the things that is consistent among all the different interviews with all the different guys, all right, who've done my program is, to a T, every single one of them says their libido has skyrocketed. And that is wonderful. And the libido skyrocketing is a direct function of their T levels getting higher. So I'm going to get into some tips here that are going to help basically skyrocket your libido. And it's not just libido, it's not just the sex that's better. When you have higher T levels, basically it's easier to build muscle and burn fat. That's a thing most people don't understand. Everybody kind of associates high T levels with making it easier to put on muscle mass because, those professional bodybuilders are injecting steroids, which is synthetic testosterone. So the muscle building part of it is common. Everybody typically knows that. But what most people don't realize is if you can get your T level to creep up a little bit, it makes it way easier for your body to metabolize fat, and meaning you'll burn fat so much easier if we could just follow some of these tips I'm about to talk about. Tip number 1 is super straightforward, and that is you need more sleep. Most people, myself included, don't get enough sleep. Some days I do, but it's a consistent thing, all right? You really need 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and I'm not just kind of coming up with that number. That is a number that has been proven over and over again in tons of studies. And the reason you need sleep is, first of all, when you're asleep, that's when your body produces most of your testosterone throughout the entire 24-hour period, is at night when you're sleeping, all right? So when you wake up in the morning, that's traditionally when your T levels are highest, and your T level slowly declines throughout the day until you go to bed at night. That's typically the lowest level, okay? So guys, you gotta figure out a way to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep in on a consistent basis. All right, tip number 2 is gonna sound crazy. I know it, all right? But you gotta give it a try. And that is, you need to change your toothpaste. Doesn't that sound crazy? So over the last 50 years, I think it's 50 to 60 years, the average testosterone level in men in the United States has dropped about 50%. So what the hell is going on? Well, it's just all the chemicals in our environment. Man, there's just everything, you know, and it's not just what we eat and drink that has the chemicals in it. It's stuff that we wear, it's stuff that's in the air, you know, it's just everything. So if we can get rid of just some of those things, that can help boost our testosterone level. And guys, you got to brush your teeth anyway, right? You do it, you got to buy toothpaste anyway. So at least give this a shot, okay? It tastes fantastic is the other benefit. It's called Legendary Men's Care, okay? It's a toothpaste that I started using, and the taste is fantastic. I like it better than anything I buy at the store, but also these guys go way out of their way to make sure that they don't have any of those harmful chemicals in there that can disrupt your endocrine system, your hormones, okay? So you're putting toothpaste in your mouth typically twice a day, morning and night. Might as well do it with something that's not going to screw up your testosterone levels, okay? And then on top of that, get a 10% discount. When you go to checkout and try it, and click on the link below. It'll take you to the website where it explains all the stuff about the toothpaste. Type in anabolic 10 and you'll get an extra 10% off. So at least try it once or twice, okay? But I promise you're going to like the way it tastes so much, you're not going to ever go back to that store-bought brand. All right, tip number 3 is just as easy as that previous tip with the toothpaste, and that is, guys, you have to drink water. You have to hydrate. So being consistently dehydrated, and I bet a lot of you guys are consistently dehydrated to one extent or another, that can also hurt your body's production of testosterone. It's just kind of a natural process that needs water. And guys, pay special attention to hydrating first thing in the morning, okay? Because guys, you know, typically, you know, if let's say you get 8 hours of sleep, you probably don't drink any water for the last hour or two before you go to bed. So that's, you know, that's 10 hours where you haven't gotten any water in your system. And when you exhale, you're exhaling moisture. So you're dehydrating all night long just through exhaling. And sometimes, you know, you sweat in your bed a little bit. And I don't mean dripping sweat, but you do perspire a little bit. So in the morning, you're going to be dehydrated even if you're not thirsty. And I'm not thirsty in the morning. I force myself to drink some water in the morning, even if I'm not thirsty, because I get another benefit from drinking the water other than boosting my testosterone, and that is your bowel movement. Guys, especially you guys who are having a problem with that, try this. All right, it saved my life about 10 years ago. And so so drinking some water in the morning, you don't have to drink 16 ounces, but you know, at least drink 4, 5, 6 ounces. All right, first thing in the morning when you're brushing your teeth, all right, with your Legendary Men's Care toothpaste, all right, finish it up with, you know, 5, 6 ounces of water, and that will really help trigger things to start moving like they're supposed to, all right? You will thank me later. All right, so the fourth one, guys, is you have to do resistance training. Now that's part of what comes with Fit After 50. I mean, it's a resistance training program. But if you're not even doing my program, that's fine. You have to lift weights. You don't have to go to the gym. You can do it at home, but you need to be pumping some iron at least 4 days a week, okay? So when you're lifting weights, and it helps, the harder you push yourself, the more volume, the more intensity, the bigger the benefit is with boosting your testosterone levels, okay? So what happens is when you're really working hard, you know, your body, your muscles will produce lactic acid, and there's a lot of things going on when that happens, all right? When you're exercising strenuously. It does send signals to your brain to ramp up your natural production of testosterone, because it uses testosterone along with the protein that you're eating throughout the day to repair all those damaged muscle fibers and to build them back a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger. So guys, resistance training is unbelievably important, not just for your testosterone levels, but for everything, especially as we get older. Not nearly as important when we were in our 20s or 30s, but once we hit 50, 60 years old, okay, resistance training becomes even more important. So the fifth and final tip, I'm sure you're glad to hear. All right, this is a fun one, but you can't do it all year long. That's the problem with it, and that is get outside in the sun. So your body needs all kinds of things to maximize its production of testosterone. So there's all kinds of things in our daily diet that I didn't discuss today, but vitamin D is one of the things that you have to have. And if you are vitamin D deficient, then you're not going to produce as much testosterone as your body could produce, okay? Doesn't mean it's going to go to zero, right? But why not, do everything you can that's simple, and this is simple, all right? Make sure you get enough vitamin D, and getting out in the sun is one of the easiest ways to get that vitamin D. So in the middle of the winter when it's freezing cold, okay, I get it. You need to take a vitamin D supplement, but I'm in Texas, which means I can get outside and get some sun, I don't know, 10 months out of the year. It's so warm, even in the wintertime, that I can get plenty of vitamin D just with sunlight, and I don't even really have to take a supplement. All right, so I just got back from racing last weekend, and I got a lot of vitamin D. I got sunburn. I was out in the sun working on my car. It was actually 107 degrees one day. And for you guys that do centigrade, I think that's like 41.5 degrees. And then I had to put on the helmet and a fire suit and fire gloves and the whole 9 yards, and climbing this thing, it was miserable. All right, so in wrapping it up, 5 tips for you guys. All of those were really straightforward. None of that stuff was really hard to do. Some of them were absolutely no-brainers. Just 1 or 2 required a little bit of effort, mainly the weight training. But you need to do it consistently. You can't just do it for a week or 2 and expect unbelievable results, which means you got to stick with it and never give up on yourself.